So, welcome to the Young Citizens of the World, Jeunes Citoyens du Monde interview with a legend of Canadian soccer, Jason de Vos. My name is Chris Ford, and I'm coming to you from Saskatoon in Treaty 6 territory, traditional territory of the Cree, the Nakota, Saulteaux, and Dene, and homeland of the Métis. For those of you who haven't been reading my posts all last week, Jason de Vos is a soccer player who's played for Canada 49 times, from 1996 to 2004, not including many youth appearances. He scored the tournament-winning goal for Canada in the Gold Cup in 2000 and was named to the All-Canada 11 men's team. He also played for clubs in Canada, England, and Scotland, including championships with the Impact de Montréal and captain Wigan to Team of the Year status as it was promoted from Division 2 to Division 1. Since retiring from professional play, Jason has served as technical director in Oakville, then as commentator analyst for CBC and TSN, and now holds the impressive title of Director of Development of Canada Soccer. And something I only learned yesterday, Jason is able to speak in French too. So we have a bunch of French schools in this interview. So we should have been doing more bilingual. We might have to do some.
Seulement un petit peu de français.
Hey, c'est merveilleux ça!
My French is one of my weaknesses. I need to improve in that area for sure.
Awesome. Oh, we'll do a little practicing. Nous sommes très fiers. We are very proud to welcome un homme de soccer par excellence. We are wonderfully excited to converse with Jason de Vos today.
Hello, everyone. How are you today?
They're all muted, but they're all excellent.
They're all muted. The thumbs up. Excellent. Excellent. Well, I'm very much looking forward to speaking with you and answering your questions. Mr. Ford was very kind to send me some of them, some great questions in there. But I'm looking forward to chatting with all of you today.
So let's get a rolling. Allons-y. And I believe we will have two students asking from Blessed Sacrament School in Vancouver. And Marc-André Tremblay, the person who created this whole foundation, this whole group, is leading them over there. If he is there, yes? All right.
Oui, a little bit. Okay, my question?
Yeah.
Can you tell us about your favorite moment of your career and why is it so special?
Oof, that's a good question. Favorite moment of my career, I have a few, and they're all related to, I don't know if you can see this logo, Canada Soccer. My favorite moment as a player was winning the Gold Cup in the year 2000. And I'm pretty sure that all of the kids on the call were not born back then. But that was the highlight of my playing career for Canada. To score the winning goal in the final against Colombia. It was the first major tournament that we had won since 1986, when I was 12 years old, and our Canada men's national team last participated in the World Cup in Mexico. So that was the highlight of my playing career. On the coaching side, I've been very fortunate as well over the years. In 2016, I was an assistant coach with our women's national team who won a bronze medal in the Rio Olympic Games. And that was an incredible moment to beat Brazil in that third place game for the bronze medal and to see the women repeat back-to-back bronze medals. And then to see them go on and win gold in the last Olympic Games was pretty amazing as well. And then very recently, I was an assistant coach with our men's team who qualified for the World Cup in Qatar and participated in the World Cup in Qatar. So participating in that event as a coach, it was always a dream of mine to be a player and represent my country and play for Canada in the World Cup. I had 3 qualifying attempts as a player, as the captain of our men's national team. And unfortunately wasn't able to do it as a player, but I did manage to do that as a coach. So those are the things that stand out for me over the last 30 odd years of being involved in soccer in Canada.
Thank you. Thank you a lot.
And please.
And I believe we have a second question from Blessing Sakrama.
By the way, Amy is like soccer fan. Yeah, she talks about soccer. She presents about soccer every morning. She has something she wants to present to the class about soccer. So, bright future, right?
Hi, my name is Finley, and I have two questions for you. What advice do you have for kids on leadership, and can you help us meet some female soccer players such as Christine Sinclair?
So Christine Sinclair, is that your favorite player? I'm sure it is. Hey, she's the best in the world. She's fantastic. I remember the first time I met Christine and worked with her as a coach. I was amazed at just how good she was. She was incredible. So can I help you to meet her? She's actually from BC. She's from Vancouver. So I know that she does spend some time there. Next time there's a game in Vancouver, I'll see what I can do and see if we can arrange for you to potentially meet some of the players. They're all fantastic. They're all wonderful people, and they're very down to earth. I know everyone looks at them as these superstars, but all of the men and women on our national teams are exceptional Canadians, and they're happy to meet fans, and they love to spend time with fans. So that is something that I can see if I can pull a few strings and arrange for you. In terms of leadership, that's a really good question. I find that leadership is something that you can develop over a period of time. But what I always say to people, young people especially, is be yourself. Be who you are. Don't try to be someone else that you're not. So try to work on working with other people, getting along with your classmates, getting along with your teachers for sure, and demonstrating an ability to work collaboratively. I always say to people that, to my staff specifically, we're not in the soccer business, we're in the relationships business. And our job as Canada Soccer staff is to build relationships with people and to work collaboratively with them. Having the ability to do that is a real asset for anyone in a leadership role. I'm not smart enough to have all the answers about development of soccer in Canada, but I know that we have enough smart people in our country who can help me solve all these problems. So I have to work with them, and that's part of my job, is to make sure that I build those relationships. I give everyone a space, give everyone an opportunity to use their voice and to contribute to the solutions that we're trying to find. And if you can do that as a leader, you're going to go a long way towards being successful as a leader. I love your jersey, by the way.
Yeah, I forgot I had it on. All right. For our next question, we're going to go slightly east. If you go about an hour down the Trans-Canada, we'll arrive at Tanis Grozel's class at École Secondaire W.J. Mowat Secondary School in Abbotsford, BC. Mm-hmm. And perhaps in a future interview, we can talk about the ERASE program that they have going there, the Expect, Respect, and a Safe Education. But for today, we're talking soccer, and I was looking up about this school, and I was absolutely amazed to find that one of their graduates is another one of Canada's best players all time, midfield Sophie Schmidt.
Ah, brilliant.
Yeah, she's been with the national team since 2005 when she was 16. So I imagine she was actually at the school and playing for the national team. So she Ohala will represent Canada this summer at the World Cup. So I definitely think maybe Madame Grozel's help, we should try to line up an interview with Sophie Schmidt. But for now, our third question of the day comes from, I believe, Ryan Matthews. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Excellent. And Ryan, I don't know if you know that there used to be a move in soccer that they would call the spinorama. It was also nicknamed the Matthews after Stanley Matthews, one of the greatest players in English history. So anyway, you have a question for Jason.
Yeah. The question I have is, who were some of the best or hardest players to play against?
Oh, that's a good question. I have to think back a long way because it's been over 15 years since I retired as a player, but the best player for me that I played against was Henrik Larsson. who was a Swedish international who played for Glasgow Celtic. He played for Manchester United. He played for Barcelona. So I played against him when he was playing for Celtic, and I was at Dundee United. And he was a very tricky customer. You could play against him as a defender for 90 plus minutes and feel like you've done a good job, and then he'd pop up in the last seconds of the game and work some magic and find the back of the net. So he was always the one that I looked at as probably the top. I mean, he played at the very highest level of the sport, and those clubs that I mentioned are some of the biggest clubs in the world. So you don't reach that level unless you're extremely talented, and he was the one that I always felt was posing me the most difficult challenges when I played against him.
Yeah. I just have one more question here.
Yep.
How do you prepare to play against those type of players?
Yeah, I think you have to be aware of what their strengths are and also be aware of what your strengths are. So, for me as a central defender, I was 6'4". I was very, very good in the air. I could win a lot of headers. Henrik Larsson was not as big as me, but he was quick. He was very mobile, very agile. So for me, it was always about ensuring that I was in the right position to be able to deal with whatever the threat was that he was posing. I knew that I could win things in the air against him. But on the ground, when the ball was at his feet, I had to make sure that I was tight enough to stop him from turning and running against me, but then also not so far off that he can get that space and then try and dominate in front of me. So it's a balancing act. You're always calculating. I always say that soccer is a game of decision making, and you make thousands of decisions in a game as a defender. It's all about trying to stop the opponent. So the more familiar you are with the opponent, the more likely you are going to be able to make those good decisions.
Okay.
Some good advice. I have a few big indoor soccer playoff games coming up, and I might be facing against super all-around player Dave Nutt, your coworker. So I was, wondering one-on-one, how should I stop him? So I've got some good advice there.
Yeah, there you go.
It's time to reverse course, and we're going back up the number 1 highway, back to Vancouver's Cloverdale Catholic School. And Cher Hossein and Clive Heath are there for our next set of questions.
Hi, my name is Emilia, and I am a student council member from Cloverdale Catholic School. And my question is, what helped you develop your passion and commitment to soccer, and who are your mentors?
Another good question. So my passion started for soccer when I was 12. I mentioned before, the last time Canada's men's team played in the World Cup was in 1986, which I know is a long time ago. But I was 12 years old in 1986, and that experience is something just ignited inside me. I wanted to be a soccer player. I wanted to have this logo on my chest and represent my country. And that started this sort of 35-year journey that I've been on ever since. And it's those moments of inspiration that can be the difference. There's a lot of challenges over the years that you have to overcome, and to be able to be successful in anything, you have to have passion. So if you have that passion, that goes a long way towards overcoming some of the challenges that you have. In terms of mentors, I've had many mentors over the years. I always believe that you need to surround yourself with smart people who are smarter than you are, and that have experience that you might not have, and that you can learn from. I always say that if you're the smartest person in any room, you're in the wrong room. You need to find smart people that you can learn from, who are good people that can help you and teach you and allow you to grow and develop your natural attributes. So I've had many mentors over the years. Some of the coaches that I worked for were mentors for me. Right now, someone like John Herdman is a good friend, but also a mentor. And we have back and forth discussions about all kinds of topics, about the national teams, about the state of the game in Canada, about development, or even just about life in general. And having those types of people around you are very beneficial, and they'll help you to realize your full potential.
Hi, my name is Paige, and I'm a student council member from Cloverdale Catholic School. And my question to you is, you've had some heartbreaking losses and knockouts from World Cups and the Olympics. How do you overcome defeats, rejections, and even injuries? And what advice do you have for young soccer players to regulate their emotions when the soccer match doesn't turn out the way they hope?
Great question. Yeah, I've had some tough moments over the years. A lot of disappointment as a player, for sure. I think the best piece of advice that I can give people is you can never get too high when things are going well, and never get too low when things are not going well. Tomorrow is another day, and you'll have another opportunity. One of the things that I always did as a player, whenever I had a loss or a disappointment, is I would right away reframe my mind and think about the next game. So you can't fix the past. You can't go back and replay a game. You can't correct a mistake that you may have made. All you can do is learn from it. And if that mistake becomes habitual and you do it over and over and over again, it's a mistake. But if it happens once or twice and you learn from it and you get better and you improve, it's not a mistake, it's a learning opportunity. So you look at that, and when you have those disappointments, maybe you don't win a championship, or you lose a cup final, or you lose a game and you're really disappointed, use that disappointment to then focus on the next game and the next practice. So one of the things that I always used to do is, after a loss, I would go into the training ground the next day and just work on some fundamentals, some basics, just to reframe my mindset and get back to focusing on what's next. So looking at the next task, not the things that have gone on in the past, because you can't change the past. You can only change the future. So it's about looking forward and making sure that you're focusing on what's to come, not what's already happened.
Hi, my name is Ava, and I'm a student council member from Cloverdale Catholic School. My question is, what is it like to be a soccer analyst on TV? Have you seen any changes to the game of soccer from when you used to play?
Yeah, being an analyst on television was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, in large part because the people that I got to work with were good people that I really enjoyed spending time in their company. The game has changed immensely in the last 5, 10, 15 years, and it will continue to evolve and change. The game is getting faster. The technology is getting better. If you look at some of the TV imagery that you have and the replay angles that you have on television now, it's incredible. So what you're able to watch as young citizens of the world is a lot different than what I got to see as a young citizen 30 odd years ago. Big changes in technology are bringing us even closer to the game now. And I think it's helping us to have a better and deeper understanding of the game. There was a research paper written very recently that said that young people now have a much deeper understanding of sport from a technical perspective, because they've had video games and they've been able to play FIFA on their PS5 or whatever. So the knowledge of the game and the exposure to technology and the ability to integrate technology into a broadcast, I think, is an integral part of the future of sport. We're seeing streaming services now offering more soccer. You can watch more soccer in Canada than you can anywhere else in the world. Pretty much every game globally is available on television now, or on a digital device, on a computer, on a streaming device, or whatever. So, yeah, there's a lot of upside to that. Some downsides as well. I think those of us who are a little bit older are maybe a little bit nostalgic about what the past used to look like, but I don't think technology is ever going away. So I think we have to embrace it and use it to better educate fans and create a better fan experience by using that technology correctly.
Yeah, it sure beats the 3 channels that I had, and maybe every 4 years CBC would show a soccer game.
Yeah, and you had to actually get up off the couch to change the channel, which is a foreign concept for young children, I think, these days.
Nice. Well, we're coming to my school, Alvin Buchwald in Saskatoon, and we're going to do a speed round, a rapid fire. So here we go.
If you could play for any other country in the world, which would it be?
I would probably choose England. So both of my children were born in England, and they're both English citizens. So I think I spent a fair bit of my life in the UK, and if I could choose one country, it would probably be England.
Cool.
What's your favorite tournament you've ever played in?
Probably the Confederations Cup. So when we won the Gold Cup in 2000, we qualified for the Confederations Cup, which was held in Japan. And I got to play against Brazil in that game. And we actually tied Brazil 0-0, defended for 90 minutes. I don't think we even got into their 18-yard box, but that was quite an experience. So that was the favorite one for me to play in.
Perfect.
What other sport do you like other than soccer?
Well, I'm Canadian, so of course I like hockey. I mean, it's kind of baked into our DNA. So that's definitely the other sport that I think is one of my favorites for sure.
Messi or Ronaldo? And follow up, did you play against either?
Didn't play against either of them, but I would have to go with Messi. For me, I know that's a very divisive question, but I think Messi. It's hard to quantify, but for me, I would take Messi.
Right. And this last question is posed by your coworker, Dave Nutt's daughter. This is Cora.
Hi, Cora. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Who's your favorite coworker?
Well, I don't have favorites because it's like asking a parent if they have a favorite child, and if I ask your dad who his favorite child was, he wouldn't be able to tell me that answer. He would say both. So I like all of my staff. I have a lot of respect for them. They're amazing people. But I will say this: the best decision that I've made in 7 years working for Canada Soccer was hiring your dad. So you can tell him that. You can tell him that.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. All right. That was great. So now we're going to move speedily across the country. We're going rapidly east. We'll zip past Jason's birthplace of London, Ontario. We're going to pass the small community of Appin, where he grew up. And we're going to go to Van Cleek Hill. If you're looking for a town named after a United Empire loyalist, Simeon Van Cleek, you've found it. And you may be able to tell that De Vos is a Dutch name, and Van Cleek was Dutch, arriving in Ontario about the same time and for the same reason as my Dutch ancestors. But Van Cleek's community has become the gingerbread capital of Ontario. So I don't know if you knew that. So teaching in Van Cleek, we have Van Cleek Hill is Isabel Campbell, and two of her students will be asking the questions. I believe it is Owen and Hannah.
Okay. You're now head of soccer development in Canada.
What do you hope to achieve in that role?
Oof, that's a tough one. My reason for taking this job and being so passionate about this is to try and create a better system than the one that I had to fight through to reach the national team. So I'm very passionate about creating a system that is accessible, that's inclusive, that gives every child the opportunity to fulfill their dreams in the game, whatever those dreams might be. The reality is only a very, very small percentage of kids get the privilege of playing for the national team, but our system can't be built around those small percentages. It has to be built for 100% of the participants. So for me, the thing that gets me up in the morning, gets me excited about my job is to create a development system that's better than the one that I experienced. And we're doing that. We're making progress. We've still got a lot more work to do. But as my staff remind me many days is we're better today than we were yesterday, and we'll be better tomorrow than we are today. So as long as we keep making progress, that's what keeps us excited about this job.
Thanks so much, Owen and Hannah. And so, 3 suggestions for you on that one, Jason. One, we read Malcolm Gladwell, a little bit of his stuff this year, and he was talking about how all the best players are born in like the teams that they're not the best, but they make it to the pros. They're born in January, February, and March. So always trying to figure out how we can get the whole year's worth of players. Here at our school, we have kids playing all winter long in recess, but we don't actually have proper nets for winter. So if Soccer Canada can help the 10,000 elementary schools in Canada get nice, those $3,000 futsal nets or something like that, that would be fantastic. And then we can have fantastic games all year round, development through the roof. And I forgot my third one, but anyway.
As you say that, Chris, one of the things that I'm really excited about that we're working on right now is a schools program. So in the next couple of years, we're going to be looking to try and get every school teacher that runs PE classes training that they need to be able to deliver a great soccer experience for their kids, and also support that with some curriculum that will go into your PE classes so that kids can have a great first soccer experience when they play the game in school, whether it's outdoors, whether it's indoors, whether it's soccer, whether it's futsal. So we're going to be looking to try and roll that out. So stay tuned and watch this space. That's something I'm quite excited about.
That sounds fantastic. And that sounds like something that could be replicated by other sports too. So that's I'm interested in that as a teacher, and I do visit it sometimes. And so that's so great. The other one was just about the cost. When I started playing, it was $35 to play, and now it's more like $350. So
I know.
If there's anything we can figure out about that, but
it's a real challenge. I mean, I'm a little bit maybe older than you are, so it was $25 when I played. We got a Kelly green T-shirt. That was it. There's no other equipment.
Yeah.
That's unfortunately the reality of sport in our country, is that costs have gone up, and unfortunately that's something that the customer, the parents are going to have to absorb in most cases. So there's absolutely some great initiatives out there, some great resources, Kids Sport, Jumpstart. There's all kinds of different funding programs, fundraising, that type of thing. I know you're very familiar with this as a school. That you might not have enough resources to do the things that you want to do as teachers. So I find people band together and fundraise quite well when they know that the beneficiaries are the kids that are participating in the programs.
Absolutely. Jason, we have adored having this conversation with you this morning and getting your insiders' insights into the beautiful game of soccer. Thank you so much for giving us so much to help Canadian soccer, to help our team over the years, and as a player and now a builder of the game. And thanks so much for sharing your time with us this morning. If you are willing to vouch for us in future interviews with, be it Sophie Schmidt or Christine Sinclair, we'd be overjoyed prior to, get more kids excited about the game prior to the World Cup this summer. Absolutely fantastic. If you ever want to join us and be a part of future interviews as well, we'd be overjoyed.
Super. That's awesome. Thank you for the great questions, and keep working hard, kids. It's great to see the passion that you all have for the sport, and I hope that passion translates to your schoolwork as well, and that you're all going to be doing the same amount of work towards your education as you are towards sport. So keep up the great work.
Thanks ever so much for being with us today, Jason de Vos. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Et c'est tout.